you, because then you're just a beautiful part of me. Correct? But as the fogginess of the lens in the mirror, you know, I use fogginess as a metaphor, I'm actually not seeing you. How many people have ever walked around in a moment or in a period of time feeling misunderstood? That's a foggy lens. Because who is it that has to understand anything? It's you. Go back to the story of the Buddha and the Bengal tigers. His disciples used to view him sleeping, and the Bengal tigers would sleep in a circle around him. How protected is that? And they would hide behind trees looking at this, right? Because what did they have? They had fear. And of course they could say that, oh, this is very special and only the Buddha can do it. And that's how the mythology of religions gets started, is that there's this person who was so unique that nobody in the world could possibly ever be that. But that's not the case. Everyone is identical at the core. We just have these layers, which are our samskaras, which is the collection of karmas. By the way, karma means that which goes with you. Parakarma means that which goes with you and surrounds you. My wife's name is Guru Parakarma. All karma means is that which goes with you. So that which goes with you from lifetime to lifetime are your karmas. And as you go through into another life and the karmas from previous lives come to you, that's what's going to make up your equation. That's called your samskaras. So as we sit here and we go back to that story, thinking of the Buddha with the Bengal tiger, what would you think of yourself with a perceived enemy? Is the means of creating friendship and peace up to you or up to what happens with your enemy? The Buddha's nature with the tiger is up to the Buddha, or how he can control the tiger? Up to the Buddha. Because ultimately, in that, thinking of your mirror as the tiger, just as a metaphor, as you resolve your differences with the mirror, as you resolve your differences with the tiger, the tiger becomes neutral like you. Your enemy, the jerk in your world, becomes neutral like you. And we have, in this world, this life is an incredible life. We're living in the 20th, 21st century. It's an incredible time to be alive, because we don't just have a relationship with that which is in our immediate presence, do we? We have a relationship with that which is thousands of miles away. This is a very advanced lifetime, because not only do we have to resolve our issues with those who are in our immediate circle, but we have to resolve our issues with those way out there. Just in our local community, we have to hear the stories on the news and be at peace. Understand, completely comprehend what it is that would cause a person to be like that. We have to hear in a larger community and in the nation. We have to be able to hear the stories on the news. We can see them, we can listen to them, we can read about them, and understand how each person can be exactly as they are. Even if they're a mass murderer, or they're a beautiful, benevolent entrepreneur, philanthropist. Every being arrives at now honesty. even dishonesty is arrived at honesty. If your spirit consciousness were to go through the identical steps of someone that you read about in the news, from beginning to now, those identical steps would have led you to be exactly as they are. To view them with anything other than neutrality, the neutrality of understanding, means that, because they're part of your equation, means that you now have jumped out into the mirror. You're no longer in that center point. Because in that center point, you see everything as it is, without a charge, without an emotional charge. And as this story with the Bengal tiger, you then are contributing to the solution, because you're one more piece in the global collective puzzle that is not contributing to the angst or the charge or the emotion that's producing the differentiation. You're actually contributing to the side of the equation that is producing unity and understanding. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see, that you want to experience. And beyond the nation, in the international, global, you have to be able to understand. You have to be able to read the story about someone that is doing something very dastardly or even very beautifully. And you have to be able to comprehend, they were this, and they were this, and they were this, and their genealogy in this lifetime, and their cosmology, and their chronology, and all of this, and in lifetime, and there they are, being that who is doing this, and this, and this. In that state, you contribute to the solution. You contribute to peace, you contribute to joy, you contribute to knowing, and you contribute to liberation. For the sake of conversation, you do have to go out into the mirror. Otherwise, there's nothing to say. Because in a state of total neutrality, there's nothing to say. But while you go out into the mirror, don't break your tether. Like George Clooney in that space movie. Gravity. Yeah, right? His tether got severed and he was off floating. But understand that your tether is tangled. Have you ever walked 2 or 3 dogs at the same time? I just end up admiring the twist of the, and when it gets finally down to their necks, and they're all like this, and they can't move individually and independently, I say, okay, everybody stop, we're going to untangle the leash. But until then, I just let them do whatever they do, right? Have you ever met the person that you're tangled in leash with? Huh? Huh? Those primary relationships, right? Those primary relationships, they're either genetic or they're what you think is a choice. It's just it took the leash a while and there you are. Wow, love at first sight. No, your leashes have been tangling for lifetimes, right? Boink, and all of a sudden there you are. If you had the eyes to see, you would be able to see how, you would be able to see how that journey all took place. Those people in your life that you love or hate are all part of your tangled leash. And those leashes, as a metaphor, they are the tether that is attaching you to the center point. And we all share the same common center point. Because in the universe, there is no center point. In the universal massive, the multiversal massive, beyond the multiverse, the infinite void, there's no location and no direction. That's pure physics. That's not spiritual philosophy. And we all come from the non-central center point of that. Because as Einstein said, that can either be, infinity can either be a space so large that it can't be measured, or a point so small that it can't be measured. Let me ask you this. Just this room to that little tiny red bug is a very large place. If you're an elephant in this room, it isn't. It isn't not even a large place. It's not a big enough place, correct? So imagine the same thing. An infinitesimally small point also has that which is smaller that thinks that infinitesimally small point is so massive that it can't measure it. Is that clear?
Yes.
So it's like in and out is the same event and there's no measurement. But within that equation, our tangled leashes is what brings us together, and we're always brought together for a reason. So when somebody does something that you experience as hurtful, somebody that's been around you a long time does something that you experience as hurtful, the amount of hurt, the amount of pain, is equal to the amount of avoidance you are having to the neutrality. And of course that avoidance to the neutrality is stimulated by the circumstances that are appearing in that moment, the words or the visuals or whatever it is. Now where can I resolve that pain? In the mirror, where it appears to have happened, or in the quest for neutrality, where in fact it's actually being generated? A or B? Very difficult to remember in the moment of a heated condition. Yes? And that's why we do a daily practice, because it gets us back closer to the ability, physically through posture, kriya, emotionally through kriya, pranayama, mentally through that mantra, and the vipassana, the silence. That's why we do this, because if we can do that often enough, what we end up, and this is the final show card, and then we'll go to exercise. As we do that often enough, our normal inclination, or what's called our inclination of fate, that's what you come with or what you have at this moment, right? And you get up and you fall down the hill every time. You know, something happens and you respond the same way. But every day that you do a sadhana, a daily practice, every time that you go jump on a mat, you do a yoga set, you begin to fill in that rut. And pretty soon, your world is pointing in the direction of your desire. What it is that you hope to be, want to be, wish to be, in response to everything that takes place in your life. So that's why we do what we do here at Yoga West. So, take hold of your knees and begin Sufi ground.